It's been 7 years since we've had this many available homes for sale in Ada County. Let's talk about that and more in this week's segment of Market Watch. Hi everyone, it's Joshua Barks here, associate broker with Keller Williams Realty Boise and team lead of the Barks & Co real estate team. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's segment of Market Watch. If you're new to the channel, we talk about the Boise area housing market on a week-over-week basis, and then once a month we go into a deep dive into the market dynamics. Last week was our deep dive, so take a look at that in the description below if you're interested in looking at the market dynamics for June 2022, as well as our predictions for the rest of the year. This week, we're just going to do our mini update where we have our week-over-week numbers. So without further ado, let's just dive into those. First off, inventory continues to reach new heights. Yeah, we have over 1,500 available homes in Ada County for sale right now, which is the first time we've had over 1,500 since 2015, so that's 7 years ago. We have 1,566 available homes right now, which is up from last week's 1,480. 266 of those came to market in the last 7 days, compared to the last week when we had 209 new listings come to market. The average days on market for everything that's available right now is 33 days. So that's just everything that's active. But when you look at the average days on market for everything that's pending right now, it's 22 days. So still increasing overall. We have, with demand, we have inventory doing this pretty much. Demand is staying pretty flat. So we have 552 overall pending right now, which is the exact same we had this time last week, 552. But in the last 7 days, we had more homes go pending. 152 homes went pending compared to the 129 that went pending last week. So we have slightly more that went pending this week than we had last week, but overall demand stayed about the same. When you're looking at the number of homes sold, we had 157 homes close in the last 7 days compared to the 144 the week prior. Now, with inventory doing this and demand staying flat, it's very interesting to see how many homes are going pending more quickly. They're beating the market average right now. So if you look at the 486 new listings that we've had starting July 1st all the way to today, only 47 of those either went pending or have sold by now, further illustrating that days on market is going to continue to rise. 47 out of 486. That's quite a bit that aren't pending, that are still for sale right now. With interest rates, that being the next thing, they did go down last week, but this week they're back up basically. Last week they were about 5.25. Now we're at 5.5 again. 5.51 is what the Freddie Mac Mortgage Research Survey is saying for the 30-year fixed. And the Fed is meeting later on this month, and they have indicated they will be raising the Fed rate again, which is separate from mortgage rates, but definitely affects mortgage rates. And part of the reason they've said that they're going to likely increase the Fed rate aggressively again is because the aggressive increases that they've had so far this year haven't really put much of a dent on inflation. The numbers are still not where they want them to be, so their only tool is adjusting that Fed rate. So it's likely going to come up again, which means mortgage rates will come up as well. So if you're thinking about buying a home in the near future, sooner is probably better than later, specifically because rates are going up. One example with that is if you're looking at a $450,000 house with 20% down, so $90,000 down, $450,000 house. If the interest rate was 3.5%, like we saw earlier this year, your mortgage payment with just principal and interest is going to be roughly $1,600 a month. So that's not counting taxes, insurance, and things like that. So the base is $116 a month. At 5.5, where we are now, that same $90,000 down, $450,000 house, your mortgage payment is now $2,000. So that's basically a car payment difference between 3.5% and 5.5%. So if they go up to 6% or beyond, you're looking at that trend continuing and you losing more and more purchasing power. And prices haven't started to actually come down yet. They are still stabilizing. So we're seeing rates rise and prices are still rising, though the rate of appreciation is much, much smaller than what we're used to, actually back down to more healthy levels. It's still too soon to tell whether or not prices will really come down in a significant way. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but anybody knows, right? Nobody has a crystal ball. So in order to keep that $1,600 a month mortgage payment, if you still have $90,000 down, the $1,600 a month buys you a $375,000 house, roughly. So that's $75,000 less just because the interest rate is 2 percentage points higher. So something to consider if you're a buyer in the near future. Now, if you're thinking about buying and selling in the near future, selling and buying, it's still a great time to be a seller. It's still technically considered a seller's market, even though sellers have not had this much competition in literally years. So it's going to be super important to make sure your house looks the best and is priced the best out of your competitors out there, because buyers have a lot of choices. It's a great time to be a buyer right now because you have so many choices, and you can actually take the time to make the decision that you feel comfortable with, and actually maybe see more than one house and schedule a day where you can see a couple of houses, rather than it hits the market, you have to see it that day or you're going to miss out. So those days are behind us, thank God, and we're moving on to just being a lot more healthy balance. We're headed toward a balanced market, but it's still technically considered a seller's market right now. If you have any questions about anything I covered this week, please let me know. And like I said, if you're thinking about moving either this summer, maybe this fall, now's a great time to actually meet with your real estate professional. I'd be interested to see what your situation is and help give you the information that I have so that you can make a good decision for you and your family. I don't care whether or not you're moving. I'm just here to provide that information so that you can make that decision, because I can't make that decision for you. I can just give you the information and tools and resources in order for you guys to make that decision for your family. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My phone number 208-914-1095, and you can also go to my website and schedule a consultation with me. It's completely free, no obligations there. On my website, you can couple of clicks and you can schedule online. So I added that this year, and it's been pretty awesome to be able to do that. You don't have to call me, you don't have to text me. You can actually just say, here's what I want, here's a time that works for me, and then it puts it right on my calendar. Well, that's what we have for this week. Next week, stay tuned for the next mini update, and we'll have a good weekend.